Hello, comic fans. Here's Earl Grey. Cheers. Today, I want to share with you some observations that I made in terms of, collecting comics, or rather hoarding comics. How it comes that we fill our shelves with lots and lots of books with pictures in them. So I want to speak about this guy here, John Arne Setorwa. I don't know. He's a Norwegian guy, so for the life of me, I won't be able to pronounce his last name properly. So it's a good thing that he goes by the handle of Jason. It's an achievement of, for the most part, Angstmann, for the love of comics, but several other YouTubers that recommended Jason for the last couple of years again and again. So I had to check out at least one comic by Jason. And this was I Killed Adolf Hitler, because someone, maybe it was Sleepy Reader, said this book here is excellent. So, and it's a book about time travel and killing Adolf Hitler, of course. And it's even though it is a very short story, it makes such a good use of time travel and all the ramifications and complications that come with time travel that really amazed me, and I really liked the story here, as to a degree that I said, okay, other comics by Jason just can be not as good as this book here. So I know it's a bit paradox, but I decided, okay, I leave it with this book here, and I Killed Adolf Hitler. I have a book by Jason, so enough for me. As you know how the story goes, years pass by, and someone recommends Jason, and I look at stuff like the most recent Jason book here, and I mean, I have a soft spot for Magritte and the surrealists in general, but if I have a little René Magritte anthropomorphic figure by Jason carrying a David Bowie picture, painting by David Bowie, and with I just this page here, and I was sold. It starts with these two guys here, typical Jason characters. I mean, he uses anthropomorphic figures to tell really sparse and seemingly minimalistic stories, but he experiments, despite of the 4-panel grid he uses almost 99% of the time. He does really neat experimentations in terms of storytelling and how he challenges sometimes the reader of his stories. Anyhow, this starts with these two Magritte dudes here putting on a David Bowie painting, and it's all about Dadaism and surrealism and all the good stuff here. And Magritte conspiracy going through the country. And later on, it's more Dadaist craziness. So I had to get the most recent publication by Jason as well. And as you can guess, I could not stop with that guy. So I bought a bit some other Jasons. Yes. So that's comic book addiction to you. And these books here are in no particular order. First, I thought I could review these books here in some kind of order, maybe from my least favorite to my favorite Jason book. But this is rather nonsensical because for the most part, the stories that I don't dig as much when I read them the first time as others. It's because I haven't understood them yet. Maybe because of some cultural references to movies, paintings, or books that I don't get the first time. So when I dig deeper into these Jason books, they are a lot more rewarding sometimes than I've read when I've read them the first time. And it's very easy to read Jason books a second or third time because you can really blow through these stories. They are really kind of page turners in a way. But it's, on the other hand, very rewarding when you take your time and go slowly through these books. Because the space his minimal art style creates is really good for the atmosphere in his books. Which is a special book, an autobiographic story by Jason about him doing the Camino, doing this kind of pilgrimage, walking with other people from different nations on this path here. He's not a religious guy, not at all, but he can relate to the, let's say, cultural aspect, the spiritual aspect maybe of it. So it's about him maybe trying to connect with other people, and he really tries to overcome his shyness, which is very interesting. You have this famous, from my experience or from my point of view, a famous cartoonist. And he's this shy guy who has problems talking to others. And he overcomes this slowly but surely during this pilgrimage. And here's something very Jason-y, I think, in the middle here of his pilgrimage. He does some reference to a movie with Marlon Brando here. So I haven't seen actually A Streetcar Named Desire. I should watch this movie, but I haven't. So that's one example for maybe stuff that you cherish and appreciate more when you knew about these movies. And here he actually even mentioned this movie. So really nice book, which starts a bit slow, but has its own rhythm and is very true to the subject matter. When Jason started his comics, he was not actually that anthropomorphic guy here. Pocket Full of Rain is a rather hard-boiled black and white, still pretty surreal story with realistic characters, or rather more realistic characters. As you can see here, it's a lot of wild things are going on here, and this is really an interesting story and somehow, foreshadowing his obsessions with surreal themes already, and a great collection of very different comics with a wonderful title, Pocket Full of Rain, and this Edward Hopper homage on the cover. It's just beautiful. And in the back matter, you have more of these homages to different stuff. And the covers of his one-person anthology is called Meow Meow. Here. So really must-have for a Jason completist. And yeah, I guess I'm now kind of a Jason completist. This is a Basil Wolverton homage. Wonderful thing. Totally silly stuff here, and a Corto Maltese homage, one-pager as well, and a bit of Möbius on one page. So beautiful book here, Pocket Full of Rain. So as I said it in no particular order. Good Night Hem. Hem stands for Hemingway. Jason has a bit of an obsession with old Ernest. So he appears in this story as well with all his strange imaginations of manlyhood. And there's this guy Athos, some kind of musketeer, who happens to be a guy appearing a lot of Jason comics. As I said, I'm some kind of completionist in terms of Jason right now, but I'm far from having them all. So there are more of his comics, so maybe I will talk about more Jason in later videos. Next book on the stack is What I Did. Another one of these collections of stories that have been published in a trade paperback form before, and now recollected by Fantagraphics in these nice, neat books. Almost a lot of them in the similar format here. Not all of them, because, for instance, Pocketful of Rain is a bit bigger, which is fitting for the comics within that book here. So what I did collects some favorites of many people, like Hey Wait and Hey Wait in particular is a heart-wrenching story. It starts very, cute and innocent with all these little adventures of the childhood of these two boys, and then something happens, and I really want to experience the story here for yourself, because really as cute as these characters are and as deathpan and mimicless they appear, almost the mouth is almost ever a straight line, almost never smiling or are angry at, or however, just speaking or not speaking. These are the two modes of Jason characters. This book here contains so much emotion that it has almost been too much. And he uses a very special technique for as telling Hey Wait, especially. So yeah, but I don't want to talk anything more about this book. Maybe if you check out one of his books, start with What I Did or I Killed Adolf Hitler. My recommendation. Low Moon is very good as well. As all these books, like Almost Silent, containing, let's refresh my memory here. You can't get there from here is another favorite of many people. But yeah, it just flipping through these pages, you see a lot of the tropes. Death appears a lot in person in his comics, and here we have even some colored work of him, and Frankenstein's Bride. Now to Low Moon, which happens to be one of my favorites as well by Jason, and really, it's a crime. Whoseller did this here, put this in a plastic bag, just a plastic bag, to send this from overseas to Germany. So it's quite a wonder that this book actually survived in this condition, and it's not even worse. But I could scream at the Low Moon for hours about people who do stuff like this. Anyhow, this is a really very fine book, and this picture here on the cover is actually the fantastic ending to one of the stories. I don't want to talk about this story, or as Emily said, or how the story here goes. Emily says hello about a mass murderer or serial killer, but about one of my favorite stories about chess, at least one of my favorite stories about chess by Jason, called Low Moon. So this is the title story. Imagine a Wild West setting in which playing chess has replaced dueling with pistols. So people rather play chess against each other than shoot to kill, which is a fine thing, I guess. And it's still very grim. It has this dark feel of a Wild Western tale. So though it's completely silly and horses replaced, bicycles replaced horses, I miss horses. Yeah, me too. So it has this Scandinavian feel. I beg your pardon for me being very cliche here, but for me, yeah, there's something to Scandinavia, the vast lands, the white countryside, and being rather not wordy, and so. Yeah, I wonder why he hasn't adapted a movie by, let's say, Aki Kaurismäki, for instance, even though I know there's one as a Finnish guy, but somehow Norwegian or Finnish, it's a bit similar to me, the feel of this sparse, minimalistic, deathpan humor. So, yeah, and how this story here about this shooting or playing chess here plays out. It's really fantastic, really very nice collection. And then we have If You Steal. That's maybe go with this story here because it shows the silliness of Jason, the silly fun. This guy here goes into a cellar to save this maiden in distress, and he kills, or at least hits this guy, and then some Frankenstein dude comes along, and a mummy, and so on. It's just clobbering for pages and pages, and the last one is the Adolf one here, and then he saves the girl, but isn't able to carry her outside, so she has to do the task, and then the story is over. Typical example of a simple yet fantastic idea and fun story by Jason. Beautiful cover here. Maybe my favorite cover of the Jason books is Upside Down, with David Bowie, dinosaurs, dyslexic lesbian vampires. What a way to summarize the world of Jason. And here you see some examples of his obsessions with, European comics, Corto Maltese, René Magritte, animation flicks, and his guys and girls that are very stoic about all the craziness that Jason throws at them and us readers. And even some slight references to chess. And you'll find in this collection my other favorite chess story by Jason, called Seal 7. Don't ask me why it's called Seal 7. Maybe this is just one of these references that I still haven't understood. And again, why it's Sweden in 1357, I actually don't know. But I still can enjoy the story about this knight who happens to be visited by death. Are you ready? Wait. And that's what they all say. And already the story has got me because it's pretty grim, because death is always grim, but it's very funny. And the guy here says to death, hey, what about a game of chess? Death is on game. He likes to, he has a bit of time to spare, so they sit down for a game of chess. And now you think that he is a really good chess player and he will outwit death, or he at least tries to, but he has not a single clue about this game. So death has really to explain to him the rules, how he has to move the knight around and so on. And his strategy of sorts, if it's a strategy, is just playing so silly that Death just loses his temper and in the end loses all his interest about him, and leaves and it says, hey, it's time for you to mature, and maybe I come back when you have matured enough. The normal reaction to this event here would be, I guess, yay, I've outwitted death, so I could live a bit longer. But he just grills his sausage there and is almost a bit disappointed there. And here we have the last book that I want to show you, and the last book by Jason that I read most recently, Ethos in America. It's an anthology. The cover obviously is a reference to that black and white photo of construction workers atop of the city. But it's an anthology including another biographic comic of Jason, or by Jason. This is not it. Here. And yeah, I mean, he doesn't color himself in the best colors here, or he comes across like a bastard, like his girlfriend calls him, and he earns this description quite well in the story here. So forget about all your notions of Jason as a very well-tempered, nice, maybe shy guy, which he is, who is as well, I think. But in this story here, he loses his temper and quite a bit, and yeah, it's a very honest story, and followed by a very silly Frankenstein story about a man in love trying to find a body through serial killing for his girlfriend. And there's a story, Tom Waits on the Moon. I still haven't figured out why in all the world this story is named Tom Waits on the Moon, but maybe someone could explain this to me. But at least there's a story, a comic that is called Tom Waits on the Moon, and that makes me happy alone. And yeah, Jason is really one of these cartoonists. I can't believe that I've lived without his books for so long. So I really can recommend checking out his stuff. Thanks for... by the way, it's all done by Fantagraphics, as you have already figured out, I guess. So now, thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.